Okay, so I welcome JU chapter members. I welcome Northeast Code Academy Northeast chapter, Code Academy Kolkata chapter, Code Academy Andhra and Telangana chapter, as well as the FOSS Club of Jain University. So I hand over to you, Sharanya. Let me stop sharing the screen.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I think all of you are doing well. Before we get into the meet, I want to know how many of you people are from first year and second year. Can you please respond to me in the chat section? Okay, fine. Nitish Patel, I can see you. Tashi and Ganesh. Yo, Devnash, Harsha,
It's Devansh, ma'am.
Devansh, okay. Akash. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I hope all are doing well. As we don't have any classes from the past 2-3 weeks, I think you guys are somewhat enjoying yourselves. So before getting into the meet, I just want to introduce myself. Like I'm Kirti from Data Science third year, and now I invite our chapter lead Ashwin Bharat to please introduce himself. Ashwin?
Yeah, hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Great. So, hello everyone. I'm Ashwin Bharat from uh, Jain University. I'm currently pursuing fourth year in software engineering. So, I'm the chapter lead of Code Academy JU chapter, as well as I'm the president of FOSS Club as well. So, I welcome you all officially. So, we are planning to conduct several events on Python. So, this is the first event. I hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashwin. Now, I would like to invite Pranav Polavarpo, one more organizer of this event, to please introduce himself.
Hey everyone, I hope you are doing good. I'm a data science student. I'm currently in third year from Jain University, and so I'm a data science and machine learning enthusiast, and I also have my passion towards the Microsoft Azure cloud. And I hope you all have a great session because this is going to cover all the basics of Python from the scratch.
Before we proceed on to the event, I would like to thank and appreciate each and everyone here for joining this event with a belief that you can gain some amount of knowledge from us, and we are very happy. Now, I would like to pass on this to Sharanya. She'll introduce herself.
Um, Hi guys, so I'm Sharanya from Data Science third year. I'm the Data Science lead for the Code Academy JU chapter, and today I'll be taking the basics of Python session. So now let's move forward with our session. Thank you for attending the meet.
Guys, if you have any questions, please respond to us in the chat box and we will respond to you back. Thank you.
So this is our first event in the Python roadmap that we are going to be taking forward from today. So I'll be covering the main basics of Python. And if you guys have any questions, please respond in the chat box, and Kirti or Pranav will respond to you with the answers. And now let's start the event. So first we'll go with the introduction of Python. So, and I'll be using the Google Colab as the working space for this session. Um, So, what is Python? We all know that Python is a very popular language and it's mainly used in different fields today. But why is it so popular? What's the reason behind it? It's mainly because of its simple syntax, and also that Python is easily typed and can be understood by everybody from beginner to advanced person. And it's a general purpose language, which means that it's not specifically designed for any specific task or specific field itself. It's used by multiple fields and it's used to design multiple tasks. Also, it's an interpreted language, which means that it is having easy code readability and its syntax allows coders to express the concept in few lines. Also that it's like the whole code isn't directly converted into the machine code and then compiled and all, but it's interpreted line by line and it's easily run. So it's more efficient compared to other languages. That's the reason mainly Python is highly popular. Now, let's move on to the next part, that is the applications of Python in multiple fields in technology today. Firstly, we'll start with web development. We have Python libraries like Django or Flask. Also, we have beautiful Soup and Scrappy for web scraping in the web development session to improvise the web applications. And in the data science field, we have a number of libraries like scikit-learn or TensorFlow for machine learning, and then we have pandas for data analysis, and also we have matplotlib or scipy for multiple data visualizations. And then coming to the third area, that is cloud computing, we have a PyCloud client-side library, which is popularly used in the cloud computing areas. And then what in the session of embedded applications, like what are embedded applications first? We all have tracking devices or smartwatches. They all have small application codes embedded in them so that it gives us, like we have smart displays and time, calories, and all. So for running implementation of all those, we use small Python codes or other language codes. These are known as the embedded applications that are present. And these embedded applications are done using the Piano software in Python it's a library in Python which is mostly used for building these applications. And then we have the field of scientific and numeric calculations. Here we have SciPy and NumPy libraries that are mostly used. NumPy is mostly used for complex numerical calculations. It's also used when we are doing data analysis. And scientific computations are done mostly using the SciPy library. And coming to the last second, which is network programming, also in ethical hacking or other networking connections, we use Twisted Python for implementing codes. And then finally, we have artificial intelligence, which is a very popular field and is highly booming today. So in this field, most of the libraries of Python that are used are similar to the ones used in data science. Uh, we have similar ones like NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib, scikit-learn, and many other, PyCaret, etc. So these are all the popular Python libraries that are used in various fields of technology. So in the further sessions, we'll be exploring on these libraries also. So stay tuned. So let's start with the Python origin. Firstly, like when was Python invented? Like why was there a need for a Python to come into life? So we all know that Guido von Rossum invented Python in year 1991. But what was the need for it? So actually in the start in around 1989, he was working for CWI, which was a government research organization in Netherlands. So they were implementing an amoeba distributed system at that time. So for which most of the codes were implemented either in shell scripting or C language. But the main problem comes because of the compiling time consumed by the C language and also the complex syntax we have in shell. So the efficiency of the product design was very slow. So then Rossum decided to implement an interpreted language which takes less time and satisfies both the drawbacks presented by C and shell scripting. And then slowly he started developing this language with easy readability and concise expressions. And then slowly many contributions were made and it was implemented and took form as Python language. So it's highly famous for its simple syntax and high efficiency. So this is how Python came into life. So guys, now let's move on to the features of Python. What are all the important features of Python? Firstly, Python is an interpreted language. Interpreted language, as I just said, here the codes are executed line by line and they aren't directly, a third party is used to combine it into machine code and then it's run. So it's very efficient. And then second is portable language. Portability means we can run the same Python code without any modifications in multiple OS, maybe Mac OS or Windows or Linux. It's OS friendly. We don't have to modify any code in the Python. And then the third is object-oriented language. So you might have heard like C++ is also an object-oriented language, but what is object-oriented language? So here in this scenario, object-oriented language means it satisfies all the classes, abstraction, encapsulation, objects. So it satisfies all these conditions. and these properties. And then coming to the next feature, that is it's an integrated language, which means we can combine Python code with other languages like C or C++, Java. So without any compiling errors or runtime errors, it will easily be combined with those languages. And Python is also a dynamically typed language. Dynamically typed means values for the variables can be reassigned, and also here we don't have to specifically initialize a variable with the data type that we are being providing. Here it automatically considers the data type in the runtime. And then Python is also GUI supported. It's Python modules like PyQt4 or PyQt5 always help in designing Python graphical user interfaces. Python is also an extensible language. Like we can add chunks of Python code in C code or C++ code, and it runs easily, and there'll be no compiling errors also. So Python is very friendly with other languages. That's also another reason why is it highly used. And next is the very common one, that is large libraries. There are n number of libraries in Python. Python is known for its richness in libraries. And Python is open source, as we all know. We can implement many contributions are made to Python, and it's being developed daily. So now let's move on to the important session, that is we'll be taking on with the basics of Python coding, that is variables, and then we'll move on to the data types. So for this, I'll be using Google Colab. So in
Guys, I hope all of you know to use Google Colab. If any one of you don't know it, don't worry, no need to panic. We'll share the IPYNB file of Python document in the chat box so that you can go through it and later you can practice it. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll just tell you what is what, and then I'll take you to the Colab and show you how everything is implemented there. I'll go slow, so in case any of you are interested, you can open your Colabs now. I'll wait for a minute.
Guys, please respond to me in the chat box if you have opened your Colabs so that I can wait for some time until you open it.
Okay, guys, then I'll move forward with this, and I'll share the IPYNB and the presentation file so you can refer later. So let's start with variables. What are variables? Variables are nothing but a container for a value. We assign values to a specific variable, a specific alphabet, or a word which is known as variable. And variables are automatically defined here. That is, as we already spoke, Python is a dynamically typed, which means we don't have to put the data type in the start. It's automatically assigned. And then variables are also case sensitive. That is, there's a difference between uppercase assignment and lowercase assignment. So we should be careful with that. And naming of variables is very important here. Variables are always named with either capitals or uppercase or lowercase of alphabets, and they can either start with them or underscore. Variables can contain numbers or punctuation marks, but they cannot start with numbers or punctuation marks, which is very important. So now let's move on to the coding file. I'll just show you a few operations on variables. So here I assigned a 31, which is int type, to a capital X. So this is the first variable I assigned, and then we have another string assigned to small x. Here we can check the case sensitivity of Python. So when I print them, I can have two different values displayed. Now let's move on to the dynamic assignment. What is dynamic assignment is, here initially I gave the value 31 to x, and then I'm assigning a new value 5.6 to the same variable. So here dynamic assignment is done. That is, Python takes the new value and considers it. When I print it, the new value will be displayed. And then we have multiple assignment. Multiple assignment is like, it reduces redundancy, like it reduces the work we have to do. Here I can directly assign 2 to 3 variables or more number of variables directly in one statement itself to multiple values instead of coding line by line and all. So here, this is a small example. So assignment is done here, and when I print it, they'll be easily seen. Next, we have swapping of variables. This is very basic case. Here, I'm just swapping the variables by exchanging the values and assigning them to the old ones. And then when I print after here, this is the swapping code, this line. And then when I print the new values of 1 and 2, I'll be displayed the swap values, that is 2 and 1. So when I want to, and finally, in case I want to delete any variables, then I'll be using the del keyword, which is predefined in Python. So I'll just put del and then the variables that I want to delete, and they'll automatically be deleted. Now let's move on to the different data types in Python. So we have around 7 data types in Python. Firstly, we have numbers, and then Boolean, strings, lists, and then tuples, dictionaries, and sets. Here, let's start with numbers first, and we'll continue with the others. Numbers. We have 3 different types in numbers in Python. Firstly, we have int, and then float, and complex. Now let's go to the collab file and check the operations that can be performed over numbers. So number data type. No. Firstly, we have integers. Integers are nothing but positive or negative integers. And here I assigned f variable to integer 23. And then we have floats. Floats are nothing but real numbers, including decimals and all. So here I took a float value as 34.6 and assigned it to the s variable. And then complex. Complex is nothing but a combination of a real value and an imaginary value, as most of us know. So it is similar to the one we have in maths. So I took a variable a and assigned it to a complex number here. And now I'll just so when I assign values to variables and they're dynamically assigned, so if I want to know the type of variable, the data type of that specific variable, then we have a type method that's being used. So when I use this method and input the variable as an argument, then I can check, then we have the class displayed here. I just check this statement here. I'm printing the type of the variables f, s, and a. So here we have the types displayed. And then we'll go to the type conversion. I can also convert the types. Like suppose I have s as 34.6 and I want to convert it into int, then I can directly use the int method over here. Type conversion function int is used here. So I'll just put int and argument s. Then the 34.6 will be converted into 34 as integer value. In the similar way, I can modify the remaining 2 variables also. Here I'm converting f variable into float and a s variable into string. So this can be done for other data types also, as in lists, tuples, dictionaries, sets, everything. Now let's move on to the next data type, that is Boolean. Boolean data type, it's nothing but true or false in simple words. So it's mainly used to represent the truth value of an expression. That is, it's mainly used for conditional statements, for suppose greater than or less than. In such conditional statements, it gives a true or false according to if the expression is satisfied, we get a true, else we get a false. So this is mostly used in the control flow area, which we'll be covering in the next session. So let's check the operations that can be performed on the Boolean. So initially I am taking 2 variables, capital D and small d, with 2 different values. And here I am putting a conditional statement as d is greater than small d. So when I print that conditional statement, I'm getting a true value, output as true, because here the condition is satisfied. And we can also assign this condition directly to another variable, and we can print that variable, which will also give me same, a Boolean data type like true or false. And when I print the type of that variable, it's class Boolean, as you all can see. To execute codes, we can just put shift and enter so that the code could be executed. It's connecting, 1 second. Yeah. So this will print the whole string in lowercase, as you all can observe over here. And then we have uppercase. So similarly, to convert the whole string into uppercase, I have upper method. So once I apply this, my string.upper, then I'll get this sort of output. The whole string is in uppercase now. And then we have the replace method. Replace is nothing but it's used to replace a specific element of the string with a new value. So suppose I want to replace my h with an m. Then I'll take my string dot replace function and then I'll put the old value that I want to replace with a new value which are separated by comma. Here you can see the syntax. So when I run this, I'll be given, instead of h here, m is replaced and it's given as m, may. So this is the output for this one. Now let's move on to the next method, that is the strip method. Strip is used strip is used to remove the empty spaces in the start and the end of the string. So there are two types in strip. First is the else strip. For else strip, it's mainly used to remove the starting spaces. So when I use else strip, only the starting beginning empty spaces are being removed. And when I use the R strip, the ending empty spaces are removed. Strip removes both the sides. So mostly we use strip over the other two. And then we have the count method. Count is used to count the number of times the input element is present in a string. Here I want to count number of times E is present. So I'll just use my string.count and E. Then it will display me the number of times it's been present in the string. And then we have swap case. Swap case method, this is used to swap the alphabetical case. That is, it converts the lowercase to uppercase and uppercase to lowercase in the given string. So here, when I use the swap case over this string, then here the hey is converted to small case and remaining is converted to the uppercase, which is inverse of the originally considered string, as you can see here. And then let's go to the next one, which is find method. So if I want to find the position of a specific element in the string, then I'll use this find method. For find method, I can also put the start and end values, like the range in which the find method is supposed to search for the element. So here we can check the syntax, that is my string.find. I'm going to put the element value first and then the starting index and the closing index. So in case the value is not present, then the find will output -1. Here you can check the -1 value. The same thing, index method is also used for finding out the element's position, but the difference between find and index is that index actually returns an error if the element is not found. But for find, it returns -1. So find is highly preferred over index. And then let's move on to the next methods, that is the casefold method. So casefold is a method where it's used to convert the whole string into a similar case. That is, suppose I'm using casefold on my string, then the whole string is converted into lowercase, as you can see in the output. So it converts the whole string into a single case. And then we have the title method. Title, it actually converts all the starting letters of every word into capitals. If you can observe over here, after applying the title method, the string is converted into this pattern. And then we have the capitalize method. So capitalize method, it's actually used to capitalize only the first element of the whole string. Only h is capitalized over here and remaining is all converted into the lowercase. So this is the final method I'm going to explain in the strings data type. So if you guys have any doubts, just put it in the chat section and my friends will answer them.
Guys, you will get the IPynb file link within 2 minutes. We'll share it through you. So don't worry about the file. You'll get it. Just concentrate on the IPynb file of what she's teaching to you. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So I'll just give you a brief summary, like which method is used for what. Yeah.
Yes.
So here I'll just explain you which is used for what so that you can later refer the Colab file. So firstly, we have indexing and splitting. Indexing is nothing but when I want to display a specific element of the whole string, then I use indexing. So I'll just put the index value and then that element will be displayed. Splitting is used to display a substring, like a small part of the string. Suppose I'm giving my splitting range like 1:5, then the elements in between 1 and 5 will be displayed there. And then we have length of the string that is used to display the length of a given string. And then we have lower and upper methods here. Lower and upper I used to convert. For lower method, it converts the given string into lowercase. The whole string is converted to lowercase. And then we have upper method. Upper method is used to convert the whole string into uppercase. And then the replace method, if I want to replace a specific alphabet, suppose I want to replace a H with M, then I'm going to use this replace method. Here I'll put H and then comma M, so that H, the one that I want to replace, the old value will be kept first, and then I'll put the new value so that it will be replaced with the new one. Next, we have split. So string dot split is used here. It's used to split like suppose two strings are there and they're split using space. I want to split them using a colon. Then I can put the colon here and put the string name there. Then they'll be split using that. And then we have string dot title. So here title method is used to convert the string into title format. That is, all the starting letters of each and every word is converted to capital and remaining all are converted to lowercase. And then we have string dot capitalize. In string dot capitalize, only the first alphabet will be capital in the whole string, and remaining whole string will be in the lowercase. So these are half of the methods. Now let's move to the second half. Second half, the first is the strip. In strip method, it's actually used to remove the empty spaces present in the beginning and end of the string. Suppose I'm having a string and there are few empty spaces in the start and end, then I want to remove them, then I'll use this method and input the string. So we have two types in strip. We have L strip and R strip. So for L strip, we used to remove the beginning spaces, and for R strip, we can remove the ending spaces specifically. And then the next is the center method. Center method is used when, suppose I have a string, like this is Python event. So I'll just put, this is Python string dot center, and then I'll put some 10 comma asterisk, which means that the first 10 elements, like first 10 spaces and the last 10 spaces will be replaced with asterisks, and in center we have the string that I initially considered, that this is Python event. So there'll be 10 asterisks and then the string and then 10 asterisks again. So next we have the find method. Find method is used to find a specific element from the string. Suppose I want to, so this is Python event, then I want to find T in the whole thing. Then I'll just put T. So string dot find and I'll augment T here. Then it will give me the index value where T is present. So we might have multiple T's. Then it will give me the first T it finds, the index value of the first T it finds in the string. But I want T from the specific range, like I want it from between the string. I want a T that is present from index value 5 to 10. Then I can put the start and end index values also after the element, so that it will search through that specific index range and give me output. If the value of like the input element is not found in the string, then it will return -1. But if so this is about find. Next we have index method. Index method is also similar to find. It is also used in finding the index value where that specific element is present. But the only difference is that index returns an error if the value is not found. So find is preferred over index mostly. And then we have swap case. Here I can, when I use this method, the uppercase are converted to lower and lowercase are converted to uppercase. So it just swaps the case of the alphabets. And then we have case fold. Case fold is mainly, it just converts whole string into one single case. It might be completely lowercase mostly. So it's used to convert the whole string into a single case. So this is all about string operations. Is it clear now? Like you guys caught up? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now we'll move on to the next data type, that is lists. So lists are nothing but a collection of values. Like the syntax for lists is nothing but square brackets, and then the values are separated by commas, and they're heterogeneous in nature. That is, I can input multiple data types. List can hold it can hold int values or strings or float values. Different data types can be held by list. And lists are mutable. Mutability means nothing but I can update the inserted value. Like suppose I have 10 in my list and I want to update 10 value with 20, then I can update it. That's known as immutability. So let's check the operations that can be performed over list in the Colab file. So firstly, we'll go through the types of declaration present over here. So I can either declare using a square brackets and values are separated by commas, or I can use the list method over here directly. Or I can also use range function, like I can loop and display, like consider, I can use the range function here. Like suppose I want to take first 100 values, then I can use range function from 1 to 100 so that I don't have to keep typing every value. So these are the types of declarations we have for list. And then the first operation to be performed is indexing and slicing. So we already saw how indexing and slicing is done in strings. It is highly similar to that only. Suppose I want the first and last elements present in the string. Then I'll take list one. I'm taking the first list, that is list one. So I'll take index as 0 here to display the first element. So list one of 0 gives me 1, which is the first element. And then we have list one of -1. So I use -1 to display the last element present. So when I put -1, I'll be given the last element, that is nothing but 5. And then, suppose this is slicing, the next is slicing. Suppose I want to take output the list values present in between a specific range of index. Then I'll suppose I'm choosing a range of index from 1 to 4. Then the list displays the elements in between 1 and 4. That is 2, 3, and 4. So here 1:4 means here the first element is considered and fourth element is not considered. That is only first, second, and third elements are displayed. Here the first 0th element is 1, first is 2, second is 3, and third is 4th. So we have 2, 3, 4 elements displayed over here. And then we have reverse of a list. So I can also reverse a list using the slicing operation itself. We also have reverse method, but slicing also performs reversing. How it performs is that I'm not going to give any starting value, starting index or closing index, but I'll give -1 as the iterability. So it will start, because of the -1 iterability, it will start the string, like the list will be started from backwards. So 5 will be considered first and it will consider all the elements because I did not give any ranges specified. So in this format, the string will be reversed. So the next method is count. So for count, same. I want to count number of times the element is present in a given list. So for which I'm going to use a count method. So here I'm counting the number of times 4 is present in the given list. So when I count this, I'll be getting output as 2. That is 2 times 4 is present in the list. And then we have append method. Append method, here the element, suppose I want to add a new element to my list. Then I use append method. So I'm here, I want to add a string known as element. So since I want to add that element, I'll be using list1, that is the list name dot append method. And in append method, I'm going to input whatever variable or the value that I want to add to the list. So here I'm inputting the value that I want to add and I'm going to print it. Here you can find the element appended to the list. When I append, the element will be added to the list. It will become the last element of the list. And insert is also another method that we use in lists. Here I can insert an element at a specific index. Instead of for append, this element is attached in the end. But for insert here, suppose I want to put the string named as bit in the index value of 2. So here when I'll put the index value and then the element that I want to insert. So when I run this line, I'll be given the output as this string 1, 2, bet, and then 3 comes. So here in the index 2, the bet is assigned, and then the elements present previously in the index 2 and all are moved one step afterwards, so that bet can be placed here. Now let's move on to the next method, that is the reverse method. So either I can reverse a list by slicing, or I can directly use the reverse method here. So this is the reverse method that's used to present the list in display the list in a reverse format. And then we have extend. Why do I use extend? Extend is used like suppose we have two lists, as you can see here. I'm considering list 1 and list 2. So when I 1 second, I'll just make the screen big. So yeah. So now when I yeah. So when I extend list, like suppose I'm having list 1, I want to attach list 2 to list 1. So I'm going to extend list 1 with list 2. Then I'm going to use this extend method. Here I'm putting list 2 as an argument for the extend method. So when I run this, the list 2 will be attached to the list 1 and this list will be created. That is the extended one. So suppose I want to delete a specific element from the list. Suppose I want to delete the second element present in the list. Then I'll put the index and I'll use the del method here as usual. So when I run this line and print the list, then here 1, 2 will be missing. Sorry, here the 4 is removed. That is this second element, whose index value is 2. So this is about delete method. Now let's move on to the next data type, that is tuples. So tuples are very similar to lists. Like there's no much difference. It also holds heterogeneous data and it's also a collection of values. But there are only two differences, and that's syntax and tuples are immutable. That is, once declared, I cannot change the values present in the tuple. These are the only differences between lists and tuples. So now let's go to the Colab file and check the operations on tuples. Here we have types of declarations of tuple. The first declaration is the common one, which is highly used. I'm just going to use parentheses and separate the values by commas. Since it's heterogeneous, it can hold multiple different types of data. And then I considered 3 tuples here. And in the second tuple, parentheses are also not required. They're just comma separated values. And the third, I'm using a tuple method for declaring. So since tuples are immutable, once I run this, wait 1 second. So I'm going to update the tuple once first value as 20, and when I run this thing, I'll be given an error that object does not support item assignment. So that's the error since tuples are immutable. And then we have indexing and slicing. For indexing is similar to the previous ones. So if I want to display element of specific position, then I'll just put the index value of that position and then that element will be displayed. Here the first element would be 10 and then the last element would be melon. So here I need a last element for the tuple 1. So I'm just putting -1. And then the last element is displayed over here. And then slicing is nothing but same. I want to display values present in between specific ranges. So here I'm considering 1:3. So first, the values at index positions 1 and 2 will be displayed over here. These two values are being displayed. 2 and 30. These are the values. And then finally, we have the length method. Here, len method is used to display the length of the tuple that we are considering. So here I'm considering len of tuple 2. So here my tuple 2 has only 5 elements. So when I run this, then it displays only 5. And then we have count method. Count method is used to count number of times that specific element is present in the given tuple. So here I'm taking 20. So when I count number of times 20 is present in the tuple 2, it displays 1 because 20 is present only once. And then we have sorted and reverse. Here sorted method is used to sort the tuple in a ascending order, increasing order, that is nothing but. So when I sort the tuple and put reverse argument as true, then the tuple will be reversed. A reversed tuple will be displayed over here. After first, the tuple will be sorted, and when reverse is true, the tuple will be reversed and displayed. And finally, I can delete the tuple. If I want to delete any tuples, I can just use the del method. As usual, I'll just input the tuple value and then it will be deleted. Now, these are the functions that, these are all the methods and operations performed over tuples. So now let's move on to the next data type, that is nothing but sets. Sets are nothing but they are a list of unique values. Here we don't have duplicacy of values, that is, values will not be repeated. Though the in the input, suppose we put duplicate values, like there are around 3 4s also. When I'm displaying them, sets will consider only 1 4 and it will remove the other 2 4s. And sets are unordered in nature. They're also heterogeneous, that is, they take multiple data types. And sets are immutable, similar to tuples. Now let's check the operations that can be performed over sets. So firstly, we'll go through the declaration types as usual. Sets, they are declared, the basic syntax that's highly used is that they are declared in between flower brackets separated by commas. So here I'm taking 2 sets. In the second type, we use the set method here to directly declare a set. Or we can also take range method as usual in case I want to take iterable number of values. Here I'm taking range of 0 to 10 for R. So these are the different types of declarations we have in sets. And then when I print them, you can see how sets are displayed over here. Also, when I want to take an empty set, when I'm considering an empty set, I'm directly supposed to consider set. Here I cannot consider, suppose, let's see, I'm taking an empty set. Usually, according to the previous ones, we can assume that set can, for an empty set, we might consider like this, putting empty flower brackets. But when I take the type of it, it will give me dictionary. So here you can check that the class is given as dictionary but not set. So for always considering an empty set, we use this. So we use set method in empty brackets. Only then it will take an empty set. We can declare an empty set. So also sets, they doesn't support indexing. Also item assignment is not supported as they are immutable. Here, if I want to get an indexed value of, like, suppose I want to get the value at the index 2 and then it throws me an error that indexing is not supported. And also item assignment is also not supported because they are immutable in nature. Here you can check the errors present. And then let's move on to the next methods, that is we have add. In case I want to add a new element to the set, then I can use this add method. So suppose I'm going to add a 345 value to my set, then I'll use this dot add method and input the new value that I want to add and I'm going to print it. So when I print, I can find the new value in the end. And then there are few important functions in sets. Firstly, that is union. So here when I can combine 2 sets using union. Union symbol is this. So either I can use the symbol or I can use the union method also. So I'm considering S1 and S2 sets for performing all these methods. So when I use union and I print it, I can see that both the sets are combined and a common set is provided. And then we have intersection, that is, it displays all the common values present in both the sets. So I'm taking S1 and S2. So intersection symbol is nothing but AND. So when I do this, I'll get the common elements displayed, which are 24 and 13. And then we have difference method. In difference method, it removes the common elements and only the uncommon elements are displayed. I'm doing here S1 minus S2. Here you can observe that in S1 and S2, we have only 13 and 24 as common elements. So these 2 elements are removed and remaining 1, 2, 84, 56 are being displayed, if you can see here. And finally, we have remove, discard, or pop. All these are most like in case I want to remove an element from my set, then I can use the pop method. So when I use the pop method, element will be removed, or discard can also be used, or I can also use the remove method. These three methods are used for element removal. And then we have next method as is subset. Suppose I want to check whether a set is a subset of another set. Here I'm considering two sets x and y. This So here I want to check whether x is a subset of y. So I'm going to use the is subset method and put y, that is the superset, in the brackets, and x is the method is attached to x here. So when I print this, it will give me a Boolean output since it's a condition. I'm going to check whether it is present or not. So it gives me false as x is not a proper subset of y. And then the same for superset. Here the case is reverse. I want to check whether x is the superset of y. That is, all the elements of y are present in x or not. So when I apply this, this is the syntax for applying. And then when I print, here you can see that A, B, C. Yeah. So here you can see that A, B, C, we don't have A in the X. Yeah. So we don't have element A in the X. That's the reason it displays me false. And finally, disjoint sets. So is disjoint method is used here, which means it will check whether both the sets have any common elements. If there are no common elements, then disjoint would be true in nature. If there are any common elements, then the output would be false. So here we can check that there are no common elements. So that's the reason the output would be true when I run this. And finally, to declare an empty set, so I already said you, this is the syntax for declaring an empty set, creating an empty set. Yeah. So coming to the final data type, which is dictionaries. Hold on, guys. This is the last data type, and we'll be wrapping up all the basic session here, and we'll continue with a fun game next. So coming to dictionaries, dictionaries are nothing but these are mostly used in complex coding, and dictionaries are like key value pairs. Keys hold values can be like they might be they can be of different data types, like they can be single integers or strings, or we can also have lists or tuples as values also. So we'll just go check the syntax and types of operations that can be performed over dictionaries now. One second,
Guys, you can find the attached IPynb file in the chat box. If you have any doubts, you can go through it.
So dictionaries. So we have types of declarations first. Suppose this is the first dictionary I'm considering, students. Here the 101, 105, the values you can find are the key values. These are known as the keys. So I'm taking 101 key and I'm assigning a value to that key as a string. That is, in this scenario, I'm considering roll number and then the value as the student's name. So here they are separated by a colon, and then different key value pairs are separated by commas. So and then I'm considering an empty dictionary over here. And then also I can use this dict method to create a dictionary. I can just put the key value and then key value pairs which are separated by commas. Same. So when I print this, the output will be displayed in this pattern. So either way I define them, the output, either way, like I can use both the methods to create them, but the output would be same. They're created the same pattern. And this is the empty dictionary that I've created. And then now let's move on to indexing. So for indexing, if I input the specific key value, then it gives me if I give here I'm giving the key for the first element, then it gives me the value of that key. Suppose I'm taking 101 key here in the index, then it gives me the value for 101 key, that is nothing but Amar. There are multiple ways for indexing also. First, I can directly do this, or I can use the get method also. Here, I'll take the dictionary name and then I'll use the get method and input the key. Then the value will be displayed. Same thing if here I'm just taking 101. If there is no key for if this key is not present in the student's dictionary, then it will output the output a string like key is not found. Otherwise, it will give me the value for that specific key. That is, for 101, we have Amar, so Amar is displayed over here. For both, all of the three methods, the value is displayed in the same way. So next, in case I want to add a new element to my dictionary, then I'm going to input a new key value to that using square brackets. Here I'm going to put a new key value and assign it to a new value. So here 104 is the new key that I'm inputting, and Vaish is the new value that I'm giving to the 104. So after addition, when I print it, we can have yeah, here you can observe that 104 Vaish is there. It's added. And then not only here, till now we considered only single elements like strings or different numbers itself. But here I can also use lists as values. So here I'm taking a list, like I'm adding a new key subjects to dictionary and I'm putting values as this. So when I print this dictionary, here you can check that I appended this element to the empty dictionary that we considered first. So after inserting here, you can check that the element is inserted in this pattern. Here we have list. This can also be a tuple or another set. Anything is possible. And then we can also update existing keys value. Suppose I have 103 student, 103's initial value was Ashish, but I'm going to update it to 2018. And so if I print the updated key value, here I can find 2018 instead of Ashish. And then to check if a key value is present in the dictionary or not. So here there's a small code to check if the input key is present or not. So here I'm just using I'll be asking the user for a key value, and if it's present, then it gives me a yes, else no. So here I'm using input to take a input from the user. And here actually we use int, like data type is kept mentioned over here because when I'm taking an input can be of multiple types. Like a user can provide me a string or float, anything. But specifically, I need an int input because all my keys are of the data type int. So here I'll specifically mention it so that my variable will consider only the int values and remaining will throw an error. So when I run this, suppose I'll give the int value as 101 key value, then yeah. So when I give a key value as 101, it is present in the dictionary. So it gives me output as yes, which is a Boolean value. Here I kept the statement as yes, so it gives me a yes. And then let's move on to the next method, keys method. Here dictionary.keys gives me all the keys present in that specific dictionary. And similarly, values method gives me all the values present in that specific dictionary. And then we have update method where I can update the dictionary. Like suppose till now we are considering two dictionaries, students and dict. So I want to update students dictionary with dict. So here I'm using the update method and augmenting the second one, that is dict, to it, so that this dictionary will get attached to the students dictionary and provide me a new dictionary with all the values of both. So I'll show you one second. So here you can check like all the values are considered in this. Both the dictionaries are combined and it gives me a final big dictionary. This big one. And then finally we have sorted and del. So for sorted method, sorted is used to sort the dictionary present, and when I put reverse is true, then the elements will be reversed as usual, else they'll be in the increasing order itself. And finally we have the del method, which we use to delete dictionaries. This method is common for all of the data types. So guys, this is all about the operations that can be performed on dictionaries. So this is all about different data types we have in Python. So for today's session, this is all. Now let's continue our event with a small Kahoot event. Now Kirti will take over.
Guys, thank you for your patience. I hope all of you have learned some of the basics. Okay, there are some questions like can you use the del to delete a variable and so? Yes, you can use it. And there are lots of questions. Guys, I'll explain you each and every question. But before that, we'll move on to the Kahoot session. It's basically a quiz. Sharanya, can you please share your screen? Guys, I request you to please open your browsers and search for Kahoot and then log in through it using your Gmail accounts. We'll provide you a pin. After entering that pin, you will start your quiz game. So basically, this quiz is you need to answer some of the basic Python questions of what you have learned today in this session, particularly. So it has some time span. You need to answer each and every question within 10 seconds. And the faster you answer, and you will be the winner. So it's based on your timing, your thinking ability, and the knowledge you have gained. Thank you. Sharnya, you can proceed.
Yeah, I'll drop in. 1 second.
Just a minute.
I'll get the game code here.
Yeah, I will drop it. Guys, you can find the pin. It's 375712. If you're facing any problem when you're joining, please let me know. Let me know if any one of you want to join, or shall we start the quiz? Can you please respond to me in the chat box? Fine, we'll wait for another 2 minutes. If there is anyone need to join, then please make it fast. Yeah. Sharanya, can you please start the quiz?
I'll start it now.
Guys, okay. Please concentrate on the questions because you have only 10 seconds. Start. Mathematical operations can be performed on a string. State whether it is true or false. Yeah. Oh, 6 of them are right and 1 is false. Okay, no worries. Next question, please. Oh, Vinay 525. Great. We can proceed to next. Observe the code carefully so that you can find the output of the following code. Oh, 2 of you are right. Yeah. Ganesh has come forward. Good. Next, please. Is Python case sensitive when dealing with identifiers particularly? Good. Oh, Ganesh is leading now. People who are down in third and fourth place, no need to worry. You have more chance to come forward. Come on. Which of the following is an invalid variable? Right. Oh, Nikki has came to second. Okay, next question, please. So this is a code. You need to answer the output. So when you print a particular statement, what will be your answer? C is the highest number. Good. So which of the following is not a feature of Python? Om has taken the second position now. Very good. Next. Observe the code carefully. Oh wow, Om has come to the first. Good. Next. So this is a multi-select question basically. You have more than one option, which is correct. Remember, you have more than one option to be selected. Ganesh has come forward. Good. Next. A string is immutable in Python. What do you think? Okay, next. So this is the last question. Nikki stands in the third place. Om stands in the second place. And we have Ganesh Sidhu, who stands at the first place. Congratulations, all of three. Now I pass. And there are also runner-ups, Satvik, and so on. Fine. I'll pass on to Sharanya to conclude the meeting.
So thank you guys for attending the event. In the next event, we'll be moving forward with the remaining functions and operators and next other topics in Python. So we'll schedule the event and let you guys know within a week. So I'll give the stage to Ashwin Bharat, who will conclude the meeting.